Welcome back to Let's Play Higurashi Himatsubushi. Of course, there's always a delay with the loading of the novel. I haven't long woke up, to be honest. That is all I have to say. So, where did we leave off? Oh yes, I remember now. Let's get to that, shall we? It's like getting to the point. It's just like you should record more when you freaking only just woke up because you seem to get to the point more. Anyways, word of the day, word of the day, word of the day. Man, there's a lot of those. Check this out, right? Sure, or whatever. Can also mean to use. It can mean small. Actually, no, those are the smaller version of yours, so that's probably a slightly different pronunciation. I don't know. But there's a lot of words that use the same kind of pronunciation. How about... Let's go with... Dan. Gradually. What a random word that was. The receiver was light. It was more than a slightly unpleasant feeling. It felt almost sickening. To verify the source of my displeasure, I peered at the receiver in my hand with a measure of reluctance. What the hell is this? I wonder what the hell is in Japanese. Again, with this, so much for getting straight to the point, eh? Nandayo, kore. See, that's the kanji character I was talking about in the previous part. That's the character for what. It's very distinct, so I kind of recognize it all the time. And it's usually pronounced as nan, I always assume anyway. I mean, it's usually because it's accompanied with, like, these characters for emphasis and all that. So it's like nan, da, yo, kore. I think this, yeah, this literally means this, I think. So he's like, I don't know. I think that it could essentially count as what the hell, and then that be is this. It's emphasis, you know. Can like translate it to a variety of things in English, really. The coiled cord that connected the receiver to the rest of the phone had been ripped apart, the tip of the cable swaying in the air. Ooh. So, even that one, that far out to reach phone. I like the ominous music, it really adds to tension. Although this arc has honestly been lacking a lot of that, isn't it? Like, comment on, I think it might have been the part where I asked, just like, so what do you viewers think of this arc? So the reply is just like, it's kind of meh. And that perfectly sums up this arc, really. I mean, compared to the first three, the other three question arcs, the one thing, well, there's quite a few things that make this one lacking compared to it is the lack of characters in this one, and that also leads to a lack of character portraits, so it makes it feel less engaging, immersive and all that. It's still got a sound and all that, but it's just like there's not as many characters, and it lacks that charm that the club, all those characters would bring, with their randomness and that horror that slowly builds up. In this one, it's all about, like, a guy from Tokyo coming to Henbizawa to investigate a kidnapping, and it's just like, compared to the other arcs, that's kind of just like, eh. I mean, it's good that it gives a lot of the backstory and all that, but it's still kind of just like, meh, I suppose. It's more indeed a sound novel than a visual novel in that sense, isn't it? Because we don't really get much visuals which kind of makes it kind of, I suppose, more like a traditional book in a way, really, just with sounds. So I guess sound novel makes sense. But seriously, more visuals. Anyways, it was all I could do to restrain myself as a raw and unpleasant feeling worked its way up the small of my back. It was a type of dread. At that moment I heard the crunch of somebody stepping on gravel. Oh. The light was reflecting off the glass walls of the booth, leaving me unable to see outside in the darkness. I steeled myself and stepped out of the phone booth. And the inside of the booth was lit with that strong light which might have made it warmer in here. There, just stepping outside, I could feel a chill wash over me. And there was the silhouette of a person. A small silhouette. Can you guess who? The long hair of that silhouette was blown about by the small breeze. Let's have a look-see. It's like, god damn it, get to the point, isn't it? Yes. I can't remember what the, maybe it's probably in this dictionary. I'm trying to think of what that word is. There are various words for your in Japanese, of which the most common is anatano. However, whenever possible, the person's name and no should be used rather than this. See what I mean about Japanese? It's much like with English. You can use a variety of different wording for a single word, and it gets bloody confusing. God damn, I have to click on it again as usual. Of course! Injured people shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. Somewhere in my head I knew who this girl was. I didn't have any basis for it, but I knew that she was that girl. Right, Akasaka. She, Rika Furude, said it almost like it was a warning. Did you do this to the phone cord? Her expression remained unchanged, and my question was left unanswered. In other words, no response. Regardless, I felt that she had affirmed my suspicions. Why would you do something like this? Why? 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 Not even any conjugators for that. Doshite konna koto surunda? Soshite! Doshite! Said it wrong there. God damn it, I have to click on it again. That's what happens when you go into configuration. The last word had a tinge of anger behind it. Doshite! I frankly tried to smooth things out, but she didn't seem very afraid. Oh, there's nothing that can be done. Huh? I interpreted her words as meaning that I wasn't going to be in time for calling hours at the hospital. But thinking about it, that would have been a strange thing to say. Why would she know something like that? I could take what she had said to have any other meaning. She just stood there like a mannequin, not even moving an inch. Almost to the point that if the wind wasn't occasionally rustling through her long hair, it would be the illusion that time had stopped. I know very well that you think I'm disgusting, Akasaka. No, that's not true. My denial came out almost like a bad piece composed for a poetry slam, but her words were right on the mark. I had almost felt something ominous and uncanny about her, ever since her strange threats at the shrine. Oh, there's that smile again. Hee hee. She had noticed that my expression was contrary to my words, seemingly laughing at the gap between them. Again! Let's see how it looks in Japanese for the hee hee. What? Kusu kusu. Kusu kusu. I think this is the... I've seen this before in this one novel that was on a Super Nintendo. I mentioned it quite a few times. And I was like trying to translate whatever I could from it. And this right here translates to little girl or something like that. I think. Like that's the character for girl and adding that. I think that might be a kanji character for little, but it could also probably mean other things. I'm not entirely sure. And look at these characters. Look at that, for example. Look how complicated that looks. How the fuck can you casually just write that down? I don't know. Maybe it just comes natural to Japanese people because that's their, writing system. But seriously, it looks like it'd be a pain in the ass to constantly have to write those. I mean, hiragana right here. I kind of got used to writing that, but I haven't really written kanji characters really properly, so they just look so like you have to have a specific approach to them, otherwise it's not gonna look right. I mean, imagine handwriting in Japanese. That'd be a bloody pain in the ass. It's like, which character is this? Your handwriting's so bad I can't tell what word you're actually using here, because some words look kind of similar. She had noticed that my expression was contrary to my words, seemingly left out a gap between them. Akasaka, coward. This scene will not move along at a good pace at this rate, will it? Yeah, kusu means waste, but I guess that's just used to indicate laughter in this case. Kind of weird comparison, isn't it? Hey, look at that. 2 kanji characters for one thing there. And then another kanji character. Oh wait, no, actually that's probably Akasaka's name right there. Akasaka no. It's probably got coward in here. Oh, that's a funny thing in Welsh, actually. Shower is pronounced as coward. It sounds like coward. It's just like, with a strong Welsh accent, it just like, kind of sounds amusing. Just like picture them pointing at a shower and saying, that's a coward. Anyways, where is coward in this dictionary? Cowards. Coward. Coward. Cowards? No. There it is. That is a long ass one there. That's probably not the version she's using. Okubyomono. But is the character in there? I don't see the character in there, actually. That's a different character altogether. She's definitely using a different version of that. Well, I can't be asked to, focus too much on that, because this part will go nowhere at this rate. I'm not a coward! Okay, gotta check it again. It's gonna be the exact same wording, just with the negative form to, be like, no, that's not it. Yeah. Kobagaten Enkai Nayo. That's one thing that I've noticed is kind of consistent about Japanese is nai. Like, adding at the end gives a negative kind of version to it, I don't know. That's bugging me, though. Maybe it's, like, under scared or something. Are you scared, Akasaka? Or are you a coward? Which is it? Scaredies. No, it's definitely not that. Scared is kawaii. Kawaii. Which is kind of like, you think like cute in Japanese, kawaii, but that has two E's, it's kind of drawn out. While scared is also the same way, but doesn't have that drawn out E, it only has one. How confusing is that? Yes, but like, so you're scared, or do you think something is cute? Scare, wait. Oh, scare actually does have that, actually. Ooh, how about that? So I guess it would be Kawagari. So she's probably actually saying, "Did I scare you, Akasaka?" or something like that. But it's been translated as, "Akasaka, you coward." I know. I am not an expert on Japanese. Even I've just been learning it, you know. Even though I'm currently not learning at the college because I've gone through the courses and all that blah. But I still learn in my own time to an extent, sort of. Just, well, not really that much, to be honest. But that's probably why I keep checking the kanji characters. Help me understand it a little bit more, you know. Being laughed at by the small child didn't sit well with me. So I said that. Even if you find another phone, it's too late. That's right. She didn't even have to say it. I was absolutely too late. We're 17 minutes in and we've only like partially got through the scene. It started out with me just being like, oh, let's get straight to the point. And then it got derailed. Just like end up friggin' being like, okay, what is the kanji characters? I might have already missed calling hours even by the time I reached this phone booth. I was too late. I had no option but to give up for today. Once I decided that, my unhealthy obsession with phones suddenly faded. Even I thought that it was strange that I was that obsessed. That strange obsession now gone, I began to laugh at how hopeless I was. I mean, just look at what I was wearing. It wasn't normal. A hospital gown and sandals. My head wrapped in bandages and my body completely soaked in sweat. It was a wonder that the old lady at the tobacco shop wasn't surprised to see me. With wanting to hear Yuki's voice as my motive, I had replies around the town the entire evening. I didn't know well to call it the follies of youth or simply plain embarrassing. In any way, it was all I could do but to laugh at myself. Oh, there's nothing left for Akasaka to do tonight. You're right, there's nothing. I'll just quietly return to the hospital. That's fine. Do you know the way? I hope I do. She waved her little hand as I began to head back the way I came. She began to follow alongside me. Looking at her face, I could see that she wore a mischievous smile and the bird was like chirp, chirp, chirp. As if she was extremely interested in whether or not I would get lost. Obviously the bird's responding to the night sounds here. Where it's like, they're not the Higurashi, it's more of, are those crickets, maybe? Frogs? Crickets, probably. Is Rika-chan's house also this way? It is. Wouldn't your parents be mad that you're walking around alone at this hour? Not really. My parents are busy today, so they probably forgot about me. Even then, it's best if you head on home. They'll definitely be angry. Even if they are, it's much more interesting to talk with Akasaka, so I'm fine. She said that with her face free from worry as she looked up at me once more and smiled. When she showed me that smile, the eerie feeling surrounding her faded. But even then, she was still mysterious to me as ever. We arrived at the corner I had turned at earlier. But it was much darker than before, and with the point of view changed on the return trip, I wasn't very confident that this actually was the corner I turned at. There's no mistake, it had to be this corner. As I began to move my feet again, the girl grabbed onto my clothes. Isn't Akasaka going back to the hospital? Of course, at least I intend to. Am I going the wrong way? Short moment of silence. Eventually still holding onto my clothes, she began to walk. It was the beginning of the walk to the hospital this mysterious girl would take me on. cry. The person who was running around cutting all the phone cords was you, wasn't it, Rika-chan? You shouldn't do that anymore. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Really? She tried to play dumb, but it was written all over her face. It was obvious she was trying to laugh it off, but that adorable smile of hers just made me want to forgive her. I'm going to be a horrible father, aren't I? Just like getting away with everything there, isn't it? That momentary lapse in tension was erased by her next words. It's good that they found the grandson safe and sound. Unable to respond right away, I sunk into silence. I'd already learned this from Sada-san's info, didn't I? This girl, no, this entire village knew everything since the moment I set foot in it. I considered playing dumb, but in the end I chose not to. With everything being known already, there was no point in me feigning ignorance. Somehow. That's great. Now you can go back to Tokyo. Thank you. Are your injuries bad, Akasaka? Dunno, I haven't heard anything from the doctor yet, so I don't know if they are or not. Huh? Come to think of it, I vaguely remembered being told to lie down and take it easy for at least 24 hours. And then he just ran around the whole village in search of a phone. Would that mean bed rest? The wounded shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. People shouldn't be cutting phone cords. Neat. No idea what you're talking about. And I don't know what you're talking about either. As we played dumb with each other, we both laughed at the same time. If somebody saw us laughing at each other like this, it would probably bring a smile to their lips. Most likely a bizarre look, because I'm like, okay, so it's like late in the evening, you got this little girl and this guy in a hospital gown and sandals with bandages and all that, just laughing in the middle of a road, probably, or at least on the side of a road, or a pathway, I don't know which, because that's clearly a road, but we do not know if they're actually standing on the road. Well, if they are on the road, they'd have to be standing on it. It doesn't look like there's a pathway. I don't know. But either way, it would be a bizarre sight. The chances of Akasaka leaving this village alive weren't very high. I don't want Akasaka to die, so I'm glad you're leaving the village alive. Rika-chan, did you know what I was right from the beginning? She said nothing but gave a firm nod. Well then, I think you know this, but we're probably somewhat of an enemy to the people in this village, I would think. But you still gave me lots of warnings. That's right. She said it at that time. She wouldn't warn somebody that she was okay with dying. She definitely said something like that. Then I should probably be thanking you. You probably should. I'm your savior. Saying that, she puffed up her chest proudly. She said it jokingly, but the meaning behind those words were quite heavy. That was because whether I lived or died was a decision that might have been made in a place unbeknownst to me. She said those words with such an adorable smile that it took a few moments of silence for their weight to settle in. I'd been to this place before. The defense line's little office was there. It was the stone steps leading up to the Furude shrine. When I passed by before, I was so focused on finding the phone booth I hadn't realized where I was. If I recall correctly, this shrine is Rika-chan's house, right? Yeah, something like that. Looking up at the shrine grounds, it was brightly lit and energetic voices could be heard. What was going on? There's a festival today. Festival? The best and only festival in Himi's hour. The Watanagashi Festival. Watanagashi? Cotton lifting? Just know the name is boring. You want to take a look? She asked bluntly. But seeing that I looked interested, she climbed up a couple of steps and motioned for me to come. I was only going to go back and sleep anyways. If I had nothing else to do, it might not be a bad idea to go with her on a little detour. In the hostile territory that was this village, I didn't know what would happen if I ventured down a side road without Oishi. Even though I fought at a village like that, when I was with this girl, I forgot all about it. And in case without anything to back it up, I felt that as long as I was with her, none of the ill will from the village would befall me. That's why, even though I knew my cover was blown, I strangely had no qualms about setting foot into the heart of the Higurashi Defense Alliance's territory. Calming music! Climbing up to the grounds of the shrine, I could see there were about 3 pavilions set up with meeting tables and folding chairs. The old folks from the village, no, the executives of the Defense Alliance, were already quite drunkenly sharing an all-around of drinks. I could only see it as people from the village council drinking while enjoying the evening air. At the very least, it was certainly quite different than any festival I'd ever seen.
See, it's quite a boring festival, isn't it?
This certainly doesn't look like a festival.
It's a festival that's happened since long ago, but as you can see, it's not like it used to be.
As if to the middle of the child, the old people, she said that while looking at them with a liberating expression. Really couldn't call this a festival anymore. It was just a bunch of neighbors getting together to drink under the guise of a festival. If I feel sorry for the deity being celebrated here.
With this sorry excuse for a festival 5 or 6 more years, then everyone in the village will start coming. The ceremony will also be done properly and will be a respectful festival again.
What she said was not so much wishful thinking as it was the telling of a future that had already been determined. She wasn't even predicting it, it was almost like she was simply reporting the results. That's how it sounded. Even though it was baseless speculation, the way she said it wouldn't let me interject. It was the same way she talked when she changed. While I struggled to find the words to reply to her, she wandered over to the other side of the grounds, not mind me at all. Not in a state where I could afford to be left behind, I hurriedly followed after her. Passing through a copse of pine trees, a strong and cool breeze ruffled my hair. There from that one evening was the splendid observation platform the girl had shown me. As it had grown completely dark, the modest lights lifted across the nightscape were providing a different type of scenery.
Looking at it like this village seems tranquil.
She said that with an indifferent look on her face. Just the other day, you said that this village definitely wouldn't be submerged by the dam, didn't you? She didn't reply, seemingly relishing in the feeling of the wind blowing through her hair. Didn't that mean, at that point in time, the minister had already complied with the demands? She spun around, her gaze meeting mine, but she said nothing. She spoke nothing that would now confirm nor deny what I had just said. This case will probably remain shrouded in darkness. Headquarters probably doesn't want trouble from a scandal with the minister breaking out.
It's no mistake that they threatened to kill the grandchild.
The negotiations with the minister were successful and the grandson was released.
The one who saved the grandson was you.
I wonder about that. The discovery of that wallet that started this chain of events. That alone was almost too convenient, I think. Ever since the moment that wallet was discovered, I felt something was odd. She said it as well. That the Sonizaki family had given the order to release the hostage, meaning that our little manhunt was a farce to begin with. Come to think of it, I was punched, kicked, and had a gun pointed at me. I felt that like they put up quite a fight, but that might have been all part of a good performance. Once the negotiations were successful, they couldn't just say, "Here you go," and return a minister's grandson right to his doorstep. They know that public safety had realized that this was a kidnapping case and were moving in on it. That's why, due to the actions of public safety, the grandson was able to be rescued safely. So the minister didn't give in to any unreasonable demands. That type of performance was necessary.
I don't know about these difficult things.
Likewise, even for me, I can't make much sense of it. But there's one thing I can be certain of. It's just as you said, this village won't be submerged. The dam project will soon be over. That wasn't something an officer of the law should be saying, but I naturally let those words slip from my mouth. This village may have stirred up all sorts of trouble, but that was because they were protecting their homes. If someone just decided by themselves that I had to leave the house I was used to living in, I would resent them as well. On top of that, it wasn't a place like mine where I just happened to be renting it, but a place that their families had lived for generations. It might be ignorant to call that their desperate resistance and overreaction. I might not really be qualified to criticize politics or bureaucracy, but deliberately building a dam on land that was loved by its residents wasn't something I could get behind.
Still, aren't you glad?
Wait, no, still aren't you glad?
Why would that be?
At the very least, through this, peace will return to the village. Even though the minister promised to use his considerable influence to cancel the project, it would probably take more than a few months before it would be completely scrapped. At the very least, it would probably take 1 or 2 years. For the villagers to officially hear that their village wasn't going to be submerged at the bottom of a dam was still a ways away. But it was no mistake that the promise of peace returned to the village was there. It turned out from the beginning to end that it had already all been decided. Just as the girl had said, it was decided. There wasn't really a need for me to come here in the first place. There's actually no need for me to have come here and aggravate an unpleasant situation. If I had never come here, then the grandson's release might have been done in a more amicable manner.
Peace in this village.
When I nodded, she laughed as if to admonish me, but her face remained indifferent, expressionless. Anything but peace in the village, Akasaka. And then her eyes narrowed slightly as she snickered.
You know every year from now on, something bloody will occur. Hee 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 hee.
Rika-chan, what are you talking about? As the wind blew her hair about the girl as if taking pleasure in that I was the only one who didn't know. Continued to snicker as she looked at my face for a while.
You see, in a few years, I'll be killed.
Huh? Backlit by the moon, it was hard to tell if her expression that had been cast in shadow was smiling, or amused, or resigned. You are. Why?
It's a very unpleasant thing, though. It's also probably been decided already.
Decided already? Who would decide that sort of thing?
I'd like to know that as well.
Turning back to face me, she showed me a resolute expression for the first time. After staring into my eyes for a moment, she turned back to gaze at the scenery before she spoke her next words.
There's a lot of people who have no regard for human life. Even if I tell you this, it might not change anything though. But if you want to erase the specter of death, sometimes like with the reflection of the moon on the water, all you have to do is throw a small stone.
I had no idea what she was trying to say. It's just I had to listen to every word with my body and soul, or at least that's what I thought.
This day next year, yes, June 1979 on this day, the foreman of the dam project will be killed.
Oh, so it's still a year away then, is it? What? For a moment I couldn't comprehend what she was talking about. By the foreman, did she mean that gruff old man I played mahjong with? Be killed? What makes you think? She didn't answer, but she had the same expression on her face as she did when she declared that the dam project would go away. That wasn't the face of somebody making a forecast or a prediction. It was something that was already decided, no. It was as if she was already reporting results, that sort of expression.
After being killed in a gruesome manner, the body will be torn apart and disposed of.
Murdered and dismembered.
Next year in June of 1980 on this day, Stoko's parents will be pushed to their deaths.
Stoko? It was the first time I heard that name, but I didn't have the courage to interrupt the girl's story.
It might be an accident. An unfortunate accident.
The girl smiled faintly, but she wasn't exactly encouraging me to smile along with the lifeless look in her eyes.
And then the year after that, this year in June of 1981. This day, my parents will be killed. And then the year after that, this day in June of 1982, Stoko's abusive aunt will have her head split open and die. And then the year after that, this day in the June of 1983, possibly a few days afterwards. I will be killed.
All the deaths are ordained, and the last one would also be all according to plan. But then, whose plan would it be? Maybe that was her saying it as well. This village is full of murderers and people who have no regard for human life. It would be fine to believe that all the deaths up to 1982 could be the work of somebody in the village. It would be fine to believe that all the deaths that would occur were at the discretion of those who control the village. But that didn't explain what would happen in 1983. There was no way that the last death would fit in with anybody's plans. They had no regard for human life. They would use every means at their disposal to meet their goals. But the goals were at odds with the last death. That's why the last death was unrelated to them. But that last death would definitely, most likely, probably, without question, happen. Probably, definitely, I dare say. The last death would be a merciful one. A handkerchief or something being placed over their mouth, making them lose consciousness, never to wake up again. Exactly whose plan was that?
I want to live happily. That's my only wish. Surrounded by my precious friends, spending our days enjoyable. Well, only that. I don't wish for anything more than that.
Rika-chan.
I don't want to die.
The girl, stoic as ever, let those words slip in the end. Eventually, we were discovered by some drunks. The girl, as well as I, were dragged back to the festivities. Everybody was completely drunk, so even when they saw my head completely wrapped in bandages, they wouldn't let me leave. Well, certainly, if I was in good enough condition to slip out of the hospital, it must not be that serious. The girl was mingling with everybody, being pampered like a kitten. Her expression was adorable, nothing like the one from just before, predicting her own death and whispering that she didn't want to die. Having said that, having a silly and lively conversation like this, it was hard to believe that these people were the core of an extremist resistance group. Even if it was a shell of its former self, it was a festival where people in the village gathered, so the 20-some-odd folk here could have included some of the village executives and other important members. Among those, there was no doubt that there were members that were at the Sonozaki family council in attendance. Meaning, even if we never met face-to-face before, there were people here who knew my identity. In a small village like this, they knew the faces of all the villagers that lived here. That's why, without ever even saying anything, it soon became obvious that I was an outsider. But they actually seemed interested by that, asked me all sorts of questions about Tokyo, drinking while musing on the faint relationship the city had with the villagers and emphasizing with the rather meager environment. The confidential talks with the minister were finished, his grandson was in police custody, everything was over. Might not have to put in another perilous situation. To me, they were only my adversaries because of my job. Outside of that, there was no reason I couldn't be friendly with them. Next time I visited this village, would it return to being a tranquil and beautiful place? If that happened, I might be able to take a relaxed walk around the village with her again. My cup was once again filled to the brim with beer. By the time I was able to get away, it was the middle of the night. The girl had at some point disappeared. It seems that her parents had told her to go home and sleep when she let out a large yawn. The old folks, who had absolutely no remorse for making an injured person hang out with them, told me as much as they laughed. I was just there drinking, so I'd thought to help a bit with cleanup. However, my help was refused on the grounds that I was a guest. On top of that, they had a car prepared to take me back to the hospital. I wonder what Oishi must be thinking. It's like, where the hell did he go? He's only going out to freaking make a call, but he's gone for hours. Losing the battle against my sleepiness inside the car, I was sound asleep until we reached the parking lot of the hospital. The front door of the hospital was naturally locked at this hour. I wandered around bewilderedly, searching for a back entrance until somebody on the night duty found and let me inside. Where were you late at night? Dr. Area was worried, you know. Sorry for the trouble. Was held up by the people having a festival at the shrine. Oh, they did say something about everybody in the town council getting together for a drink. My condolences. Are your wounds alright? They're throbbing a bit. It's probably because of the alcohol, I think. Oh, that's right. the detective that was with you wanted to get in touch. Oops, I kept Oishi-san waiting. That you did, I glanced at the clock. No matter how you looked at it, it was way too late to call him now. I'll apologize to him tomorrow over the phone. I returned back to my hospital room and slipped into the bed that was still unmade from the time I went outside. Oh, that's no good. I have to turn off the lights. But my weariness had cut the cord powering in my body, lulling me into a deep sleep. Higurashi, when they cry and the battery's low. Tips, murders, diary, 3, 2, 1, and achievement unlocked. Prophecy. Prophecy at the beginning. Why is it a gun? That's not part of the prophecy. Anyways, we'll go over tips and shit. This arc is going on a little longer than I was expecting. Although, probably like, 2 parts left at most, I'd imagine, before I'll get into the all-cast review session. Whatever, either way, I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.